All right, welcome back to another episode of the Critics Collective. I am Legacy Lingo, and I want to thank you guys for tuning in to this review of Den of Thieves 2 Pantera, starring Gerard Butler and O'Shea Jackson Jr. But before we get into that, I would like to kindly ask you guys, if you're enjoying this content that we're creating for you and you want to support our page, please give this video a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, hit the alerts button, and join the collective community. All right. So I just got out of the theater watching this, and I'm excited to talk about it with you. Den of Thieves 2 Pantera, or you may just see it as Den of Thieves Pantera. This is the sequel to, of course, Den of Thieves that came out in 2018. And now here we are in January 2025. We have the sequel again with Gerard Butler and O'Shea Jackson Jr. And IMDb has the synopsis as: Big Nick is back on the hunt in Europe and closing in on Donnie, who is embroiled in a treacherous world of diamond thieves and the infamous Panther mafia as they plot a massive heist of the world's largest diamond exchange. So, initial impression of this, I was a little skeptical. The first movie that came out in 2018 was not a bad movie, and hopefully that review will be up for you guys to enjoy that soon. It was not a bad movie, but I came in with certain expectations, which is another reason why I don't watch trailers anymore. They set you up, and if it goes the opposite of what you're thinking, or if it gave you everything in the trailer, you're underwhelmed. There's nothing, you got nothing out of it. You saw the movie already. This was one of those situations in 2018 where I was expecting something and I didn't get it, and I was expecting a lot more and I didn't get it. But as I rewatched it recently, I realized, it's still a good movie. But my initial impression was, why are we getting the sequel? Who asked for this? So, but then I was curious. I was curious. I'm like, something had to have been worth it for them to actually go for this again. And so I rewatched the first one. And I realized that once I got out of my own way, that movie was actually pretty good. And my initial impression for this was like, hey, all right, let's see where it goes. Let's hope it's actually worth a sequel being made. So I'm gonna steal a page out of the Dad Panthers book, and I'm gonna go from lows to high. Basically, start with my lows and build it back up. My lows for this film, which I'm sure is no surprise, you guys probably roll your eyes whenever I say it. I did have a couple of issues with some of the writing. I felt like it didn't tie in. There were some things that was pretty obvious that if they would have wrote it a little better, it would have. If they would have wrote a little better, it wouldn't have stood out. But there was some obvious moments that were standing out where I'm questioning, like, well, wait a minute, wouldn't they have noticed this, or wouldn't they have noticed that? There were certain characters that they tried to recycle from the original that I felt like were pointless, or they were used the wrong way. If the writing was tighter, that person would have actually, the roles would have been reversed as far as who propositioned who with what. So it was bothering me. It was bothering me. And then this also felt like this was, they were trying to shed a new light on certain characters, trying to bathe them in a new light and have them reborn. And that was it was bothering me for a moment. I wasn't really feeling that. But I have to be honest with you, that's all I have as far as lows. Again, I just came out of this theater and I couldn't wait to talk to you about it, because my highs, this movie is so much better than the first one. The writing had those little quirks of the writing. They stood out to me, but it wasn't enough to take away from the movie. The characters, the team that they end up working with, I thought they were written well. I end up, connecting and liking everybody. The level of technology, the heist that they were doing was on such a higher level. And in my opinion, I think that's when you're doing a movie like this, you have to elevate the heist. If it's about it, it just can't be about bank robberies and gunshots. You know what I mean? When you're doing something, you have to elevate the heist. And the first one did offer an elevated heist, but this was on such a higher level. And then they did a good job of keeping it intense. You actually didn't know for sure if it was going to be a success or not as you're watching it. There are a lot of moments where the intensity is drummed up and you get into it. You're not, sometimes you watch these films and you're like, yeah, this is going left, but I already know who the good guy is or who the bad guy is. I already know how the outcome is. This was one of those where you weren't really sure how it was going to play out, and it kept me engaged all the way through. I love the actual chemistry with Gerard Butler and O'Shea Jackson. I was skeptical because of the energy that they had in the first film. And they did a good job of helping us get connected and helping us be a part of that. The cinematography, the way they were shooting things, it just had a flow to it. The camera was moving and creating beautiful vibes where they're following cars or just following people, just setting up things. I thought it was great. And then the way the story ended up finally playing out, the movie is a little longer than it needed to be, but after everything played out, it made perfect sense to me. I was like, okay, I understand. You had to give us all of this in order for us to fully embrace it, fully accept it, so it didn't feel forced. So it is a little longer than most people may want, 2 hours and 24 minutes. And then if you're one of those that watch previews, you got 30 minutes of 25, 30 minutes of previews on top of that. So you're in for a 3 hour night. And I think we should just from there just jump into writing and rating it so I don't just keep repeating myself. All right. So Critics Collective, we have 5 accolades from 0 to 5, 5 being excellent, a must watch, highly recommended for all viewers. 4 accolades, good, worth watching, but has notable flaws. 3 accolades, average, some enjoyable moments, but lacks significant impact. 2 accolades, below average, some redeeming qualities, but generally disappointing. 1 accolade, poor quality, not recommended. 0 accolades, horrible, absolute trash. And as of 2025, we don't have any zeros yet. So kudos to 2025 for starting off. This film, like I said, is so much more entertaining than the first one. I still recommend if you haven't seen, go watch the first one so you can truly understand what you're getting here on this one. I'm going to have to give it a 4. Give it 4 accolades, even though you heard my lows. There was some writing issues. There was some character things that didn't add up. Roles should have been swapped, but it wasn't enough to take me out of it. So 4, a good watch, worth watching. Has some notable flaws, but it's still a good movie, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I'm not gonna lie, if there is a third one, I will be first in line to see it. All right. So if you guys like what you got from this review and I'm pushing you to go see it, please let me know in the comments. Also, if you did see it, come back in the comments and let me know how you guys are going to rate this thing. Let me know how many accolades you're giving it. Let me know how you felt about the first one. Let me know how you think it compares. All right. So I want to thank you guys for joining us for another episode of the Critics Collective. Make sure you support this page by hitting that like, subscribe, the alerts button, join the collective community, and we will see you guys on the next one.